Hello everyone, this is John Ward with the Appalachian Channel, and I'm back in the Green River Cove. That is right outside of Saluda, North Carolina in Polk County. And I'm here today with some news that I have been hearing about, but yet I kind of didn't take a lot of notice to it because I thought it was just speculation or conspiracy theories or rumors. And it is that there's been bodies collected and they've not yet hit on the death toll. The number is not accurate, and I've largely ignored that, thinking that it was just people talking about things, until yesterday, where I found where they recovered two bodies right down here. And I'm going to take you and show you, so you hold on. I got a good video for you here for some information and some things that you've not heard about. And I learned these things yesterday, and I don't talk about things unless I have some facts to show you something and can tell you something that is factual that you can look up on the internet. And so everybody has been talking about these FEMA camp that popped up outside of Asheville, up on a big hill, and there's pictures of it. You can search it. I would pop it on here, but I did not take that picture. It's a drone shot of this FEMA camp. Just Google it, FEMA camp, Asheville, North Carolina, and you'll find pictures of it. It's a huge camp with multiple trailers, which looks like they are refrigerated trailers from when you zoom in on the picture. So yesterday when I'm here, this is debris, a house, and I'm going to show you this all down through here, that Jake Jarvis, that if you've been watching my videos, you know Jake with Precision Grading has been helping people for free from donations. He comes out. Sad thing is, a lot of the things he does is tear down people's houses and pushes it to the road. This house that come off the property over here was not their house. It was another house that washed onto their property, and their house washed on somewhere else. Now, this video is not really about this property, but I'm going to show you where they recovered two bodies here in Polk County on the Green River Cove. You know, I've been watching the death toll with the Polk County official death toll, and it's been one, and we know that was a lady that died in a mudslide. Her husband survived, and so on my very first video back on, it came posted on October 21st with Fast Fred, my very first trip into the cove. I did not know the cove. I did not know what was going on. There were vehicles everywhere, people working. Today, there's nobody here. There's no contractors here. I'm not for sure why. One, and I don't like to talk about rumors or speculation, but some of the FEMA contractors pulled out due to a lack of payment. Now, I'm sure it takes a long time to get paid by the government on a government job, but FEMA has sent contractors all the way from California. I've seen them here for 2 weeks, and then they've been over in Pearson Falls, where I'm filming, where we filmed a project with a bridge, and being built, that Jake and Ben from South Carolina and multiple other people donated to build a bridge. And but we're going to take a walk right here, and I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to take you down and show you the hole and the ribbons where they marked where those two bodies came from. Now, a lot of people says, well, FEMA's collecting these bodies and this is a FEMA camp, but no, not necessarily. So I had to get my phone out. You can look this up online, and that's the reason I'm bringing you this information. FEMA does not necessarily keep these bodies. You know, I've been hearing stories of bodies being held in refrigerator coolers, and I'm like, you know, it looks like they would pop up on the death toll. So yesterday, when I found where I'm going to show you here in a minute, where they did remove two bodies, that should officially have made the death toll here in Polk County that we know of as 3. And I've not, for sure, I did not find the spot or the marker that they leave, but there was one more death in a motorhome that they pulled the body out of, and that Jake actually pulled the body, not the body, but the motorhome out of the river after the body had been recovered. So I can't show you nothing on that. So that would make 3 official death tolls, but it's not showing up. And I don't have internet down here, but I'm going to try to. So the Department of Human Services has multiple agencies under them. There's a company called DMORT. They go by, it's DMORT, and it has been, it's called the Disaster Mortuary Operation Recovery Team. I can't get my internet to pull up, but you can Google this real quick and pull it up, and it tells exactly what they do. They was formed in 1992 for disasters to come in to help the local hospitals, mortuaries, whatever, to process and identify bodies that's taken in a natural disaster or a disaster like 9/11. They were there, hurricanes, plane crashes. They show up, and I had talked to a lady that we'd done a video with that she cannot be on camera, because when you're with one of the search and recovery teams, she worked in Texas, you sign a confidentiality agreement that you cannot talk about what you do. So, but I became friends with her after the video was done, and so she did give me the information because I wanted to confirm what these orange tags were and a few other things. And she was the one that told me about DMORT, and they call it different things. Now, you can find, I'm going to show you some of this debris right here. This is all come off one property. This is somebody else's house that had just been remodeled right up, not far, right over in here. It probably went 1,000 feet down onto this other property. But so Jake's been cleaning this up, and this is where I discovered on this property that we're going to over here by the river where the bodies were pulled out. And I'm going to show you that as soon as we get down there. But this is just debris that everything in the world. Here's a lawnmower deck, siding, aluminum for the roof. Here in Green River Cove, there were 37 houses that supposedly went missing, maybe more. We don't know. They're not here, you know. But Jake, in about 3 days of work, he's been pulling all this out for these people to get it off their property so it can be picked up and hauled off, because they have been contractors from California picking a lot of this debris up. But once they pull out, it might sit here for a while. The county might have to pull it up. Here, you can see this is part of a motorhome that Jake, in one of my last videos, I can't even tell you which one it was, I've done so many, pulls out of the river over here. Supposedly, this is the one that had the death in it. So we're gonna go right down here on this property. I talked to the homeowners yesterday. They're not here today. I didn't get to do an interview with them yesterday. But they was here when the search and rescue team was working on this property, looking for the bodies, recovering them. But my very first video, I think I started talking about that a minute ago with Fast Fred on I filmed it October 20th. There was a lady and her husband that lost their house up the road here that come out and said, I started talking to them. You can go back and watch it in that video. They said they just recovered 2 bodies up the road, and one of them was a 7-year-old boy. It was the guy's son. Also, I know now that the mother has not been recovered. She's gone too, lost. So it really surprised me. I'm like, why is this not on the death toll? So DMORT is not hiding anything necessarily. This is standard policy for them to recover the bodies. This big camp that's set up is actually just a mortuary or a place where they can do autopsies. They're going to do dental records. They're going to do DNA, fingerprints, and do everything they can to find out who this body is, or a lot of times it's just parts, body parts they find. And each time they find one body part, it has to have its own separate body bag. So there were a lot of homeless people, especially veterans, in Asheville area. Asheville got hit very hard there with the river. I think it's the Nolichucky and the French Broad come together there. And a lot of people are living in homeless camps and areas, and they got apparently washed away. And they're having a hard time identifying these bodies, most likely. So they do not put these bodies, even though they've got a dead body in the mortuary, it does not go onto the official death toll until they've identified that body. The same thing, the lady I'm talking about that worked with a search and rescue team in Texas says that they will never release the total amount if they do not identify these bodies. it's not something special for this storm. It's not something new. This is just standard practice. It's something that just been going on since 1992 to come in to help the local authorities that's overwhelmed. The hospitals cannot take in hundreds of bodies. They don't have the morgue room for it. They don't have the people to identify them. So they have 8 teams, DMORT does, in the United States in different divisions. And I think there's 2 of those teams here from what I can find. And you can go on YouTube, and they actually, on October 5th, it's going to be hhs.org, I think, on YouTube, Health and Human Services. They have their own YouTube channel, and they did a media conference where they invited the media to come out on the 5th, and they talk about, you got to really listen to it and understand what they're talking about, because they use all of these initials for things, and it makes it hard to understand them. But they talk about DMORT being here and being set up, and they had a base camp there at first at the hospital in Asheville that got flooded. And so there's a 32-minute video on there that you can listen to, and they talk about all the different resource agencies that come in here. They do not talk about the bodies that's not identified not being put on the death toll, but that's what's happening. And yeah, there's 102 officially on the death toll for North Carolina. I've not seen a missing list right now, but these people that were homeless, and I don't even understand why this family's not been on there or identified yet, but I'm sure with hundreds of bodies, it's taken a long time to go through and process them. They're going to determine their cause of death, any type of DNA, dental records, fingerprints that they can match. And with DNA now, because of Ancestry.com and stuff, where so many people have sent their DNA in, it's more likely they can match these with somebody. So it could be years that they're working on these bodies, and little by little, as they identify them, that death toll is going to go up. So we're going to go down here. We'll turn the camera around and show you where they recovered these bodies. Okay, so this is the driveway. This was a beautiful piece of property. It looked like a park at one time. Now, you cannot tell what it looked like now, and only those people that had been here before can see the real devastation. But I want to say thanks to Amy Perez. She's right here. She's been my transportation many times. Here she is. Say hello.
Hello.
She's been a big help getting me in and out, and she's also been feeding people that's working, the volunteers. So she's been actively helping a lot. Now, Jake cleared off this property up higher for the homeowners to put a RV trailer in. And I'll tell you a little bit about this property that the owner told me yesterday. This was at one time a welding shop, and he turned it into a kitchen. The guy that he bought this from, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, or at one time, the guy that had a welding shop there had a little camper trailer over here. And then where you see this wood, that was a bathroom, utility room that he had built. But the family that owns the property come in and built a bedroom there, built a house there. There was a house there. It's no longer there. It washed, he said, a lot of it across the street. He don't really know. He did find his refrigerator down the road, still full of its contents. It never did lose its contents from somehow. But this is a road that all the debris that you saw up by the road come from just one little spot right in there. These trees caught all that house. It was a house. It was all caught up in here. Now, some things like this picnic table was found maybe a half a mile down the road, floated down there. It was able to recover that. But this was what my first proof of any type of proof that I found that there were bodies recovered. Now, Jake cut this in here so he could get a running start with his dump truck to get up to the road. But look at this hole right here. Now, this whole hole was dug out to recover the 2 bodies, from what I'm being told. Now, nobody official, anybody working with the government or working with this is allowed to talk about it, and it's just privacy issues. They're not going to reveal any names or tell anything about anybody until the next of kin's notified. But here is the 2 ribbons that signifies, from what I'm told with the lady that's worked with the rescue, search and rescue recovery in Texas, that indicates 2 bodies. Now the top ribbon has a name on it, and I'll show you that there. I took that picture actually yesterday. It has initials there. I don't know, maybe somebody can tell me what those initials are. Here's something I didn't see yesterday. That's a ground rod of some kind, so I'm not for sure if that was something they was using the probe with or what. I don't remember seeing that. Sometimes you see so many things, but yeah, this whole area was excavated because cadaver dogs hit on this area, for what I'm being told, and they had to come back later. It wasn't at the same time. I'm gonna think this happened, they dug these bodies out the day I came, October 20th, when the couple said they just recovered 2 bodies. But it was way before that, and I didn't see this tag until yesterday. Let's go over here and look at this. This probably signifies where the cadaver dogs hit on this area. The green team, or the green tag, must be telling they need to come back here. It has a date, 10/5. So I'm thinking 15 days later they came back, 12 o'clock. This is South Carolina Search and Rescue. Gunner was probably the team. Somebody might can tell me more about that team. A lot of this is private stuff they don't tell people because they're dealing with death. Just like when there's a car accident. Somebody gets killed in a car accident, the news is not going to release that name until the family's being notified. So you kind of see some of the debris all along the road that came in just on this guy's property. But you can kind of get an idea of this crater that they dug out to remove the bodies. I'm sure they would have not let nobody film this. If I'd have been here, I would not have been allowed on the property. I understand that, you know. They don't let you film recoveries of bodies, and I probably would not want to do that. But yeah, so this is my first evidence of where they recovered a body and the bodies are not showing on the death toll. All right, guys, this is November 18th. These bodies were recovered about a month ago. They're still not showing up on the official death toll. I'm pretty sure, since they know the area where these bodies, they had a home here, they will be able to identify them and they will come on the death toll. But so many of the homeless and maybe immigrants that were living in Asheville will probably never be identified. And you know, until yesterday, I kind of blew off the idea that FEMA had coolers, bodies in them, until found this, and then I went online and I searched the FEMA camp in North Carolina, Asheville area. It's on a big hill, flat area. I don't know, they've got to be several hundred either trailers or buildings set up there. And a lot of people's wondering, why is FEMA doing that? What's that for? Why is it guarded? Well, the National Guard works with DMORT to help recover these bodies. That might have been a National Guard team tag over there. Don't know. Leave me a comment, let me know. But this is something that just happens in every disaster. I'm just learning about it. I've not heard anybody talk about DMORT, and I'm not saying that right, but DMORT, you know, disaster mortuary. I can't remember. I'll put it here. But listen, I'll put a link to that website for DMORT in the description. Look that up. Read about it. You see what they do. They're very needed. Unfortunately, they're very private about these bodies, and they're not going to ever probably release the total. As an example, the lady I've talked to you about, this gave me information, worked, from what I understand, she worked Katrina. The official toll there was 1,300 bodies, but there were hundreds of bodies that were never identified. and they kind of fall into until they identify them into the undead zone. Something, I don't know. If you know anything about this, leave comments, and that way people can get a better understanding that that's not really a FEMA camp, although FEMA's probably working in there too. It's more of a mortuary, a place to do autopsies. That big camp that's guarded by the National Guard. I understand why. You know, they don't want people like me coming in and filming this or anything. You know, it's very private when they're dealing with dead bodies. Guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to the Appalachian Channel with John Ward. We're working on a project today where we found a husband and wife with 4 kids that's living in a tent. And that video will be coming up really soon. They're going to need some support and some help. I'll see you on the next video, guys.